The following is an Encore Flip Your Marketing Flops Micro Summit interview. Warning: although we make our best efforts to provide the latest information, due to the ever-changing nature of the digital marketing industry, some information in this interview may be subject to change. Would you like to know how to build your email list and get paid while doing it? Want to know the lead generation secret that gets speakers to do your marketing work for free? Want to know the fastest way to build your authority and influence? In this Encore episode, listen in on my interview with Steve Eriksen, creator of Event Raptor, the Summit and gift giveaway software. Steve explains the benefits of using Event Raptor to promote summits and gift giveaways that will build your email list and pay you at the same time. I'm your host, Joe Sayles Jr. Welcome to Flip Your Marketing Flops, the digital marketing and lead generation podcast. Welcome to Flip Your Marketing Flops, the podcast, providing weekly episodes of presentations, interviews, and conversations with marketing professionals and industry experts discussing common marketing mistakes and how to prevent them. If you're an entrepreneur, local service-based business owner, small business marketer, or a new digital marketing professional, and you don't normally have access to insider marketing knowledge, then this podcast is for you. My purpose is to teach you the hacks, tips, and secrets that will prevent common marketing mistakes, saving you both time and money. Today's Encore episode is an interview I did for the third Flip Your Marketing Flops Micro Summit back in the spring of 2021. This interview with Steve Eriksen, Summit Technology Specialist, was just before his launch of Event Raptor, a leading Summit software. So enjoy this interview. Today's topic is summits and giveaways with our speaker, Steve Eriksen of the Midlife Entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you very much for having me here, Joe. I'm so excited to share some of the things I know with you and your audience.
Steve, I'm so happy that we've had this chance. We met a couple of months ago and we're in the same membership group and whatnot. So I've been looking forward to this opportunity to meet with you like this. Where are you hanging out today, Steve?
I am in Norway, coming all the way from Europe.
Yeah. So then it's nighttime?
At the moment, it's actually just 6:15. It's still early, but I have turned my working day upside down because I work so much with Americans in California and the Pacific time zone. But I typically stay up to like 4 or 5 a.m. my time. And then my evening time is actually in the morning.
I got it. One of my virtual assistants is the same way. He says in his country, he's one of the oddballs that's up all night and does things all night. So I get it. Your background is in technology and your business is focused on the midlife solopreneur. How long have you been doing the Midlife Solopreneur as a business?
I started 6th of July last year. So I'm very new into having my own business in this particular segment, doing the coaching for other midlife solopreneurs. And for me, it's been a fantastic period of time since the 6th of July. I'm excited to share the information with you.
That's awesome. And I know that you've been involved in lead generation related activities for a lot longer. How did you get started and all that? How did it lead to your current business?
So I have an MBA from a 2-year MBA in the UK, and I took that degree between 92 and 94. And I really came out and said, actually, when I had my first business, I grew to have 7 staff. I had about 3,000 customers and I sold the business. I got 5 figures for the business. Other people sold a similar business and they were getting like 6 and 7 figures, like up to $1 million and more for their business. And I call it my failure to succeed. I didn't fail in the business, but I failed to capitalize on it. I failed to set myself up for life. And I went and said, okay, I have an MBA. What did I do wrong? And that's when I realized that the MBA taught me to be a good corporate employee. It didn't teach me to be a good entrepreneur or solopreneur. I started in 2000 really studying what is effective marketing, what is effective lead generation, how do you attract clients? And it's been a journey for me all the time since. So I've been working with clients, I've been working as an employee, I've been working on my own and really within that field, and also a lot with the merging of technology and marketing at the same time. Right. That's really where I built up my expertise over the last 20 years.
And this has been a unique time for all of us, I think, to go through these experiences. We were taught to be one thing, we were taught to do it one way, and it turns out now that we're midlife, we're doing things that we never planned on doing. We're doing things we never expected, and it's not going like we were told it would be going. So I totally understand all the changes. So let's get into today's topic then. You're here to talk about summits and giveaways, and what kind of things make summits and giveaways a lead generation secret?
Well, here's the number one key about a summit or a giveaway is that it's the only way I know that you can build your list and get paid whilst you're doing it, right? Now, any other way I know of building my list, I have to pay money. You know, doing advertising and things. It's fantastic for that. When you have a summit or you have a giveaway, what happens is that the speakers or the contributors to the giveaway are actually doing the promotion. And when they're doing the promotion, people come into your page and sign up to your list so they get access to those gifts. That's how you build your list, really. And they're doing all of the work and it's not costing you a penny.
Right. Well, give me an idea. Let's look at each one of these separately, because I come from a paid and SEO background in lead generation. Those were my primary methods. Over the last couple of years, I've learned about doing webinars and doing summits, and giveaways are some of the newer end of things that I've learned about. So let's kind of focus, talk a little bit about each one. We can talk about maybe the technology involved and suggestions and things of that nature, if you don't mind. So why don't you choose the one that, well, first of all, do you have a preference of one over the other? I know you work with both, but do you have a preference, or would you recommend one over the other?
I would recommend seriously that you do both. It's as simple as that. They are different. They act differently. They attract different types of people, I guess. So it's well worth bearing that in mind. The great thing about a summit is that it enhances your authority. It enhances your influence. It enhances that all-important know, like, and trust. And the reason it's doing that is that you are the figurehead of a summit. Mm-hmm. You are the person who's out promoting, like you're doing now, Joe. You are doing the interviews. So you're the expert. You're the one who's there in every single recording for this particular summit. And this is a summit. It's a micro summit that we're doing right now, where the videos are being recorded and people register for them to get access and are able to go and watch them. And so you are automatically building up your authority by being the host. Now, I've done 2 summits so far. On my second summit, for instance, and they were both done live. On my second summit, I had 37 speakers over 5 days, 8 hours a day. It was all done live. People came into the room and they were listening to the speakers. Some people stayed on for the whole event to actually listen to that. Some of the people who the audience stayed in there for over 40 hours listening to every single speaker, wow, which is truly amazing. And here's the thing. I had the opportunity to be the host. I didn't do it interview style, really, not one back to back. But what I did was that I came on and said, thank you to the previous speaker, and here's a little bit about what we're doing, and here's the next speaker who's going to be talking about a particular topic. And just by doing that, the people who stayed there, the people who heard me in between, and also I was able to do my own presentation during the summit, they got to know me, they got to like me, they got to trust me in what I'm doing. And the authority of your speakers will also carry over to the host. So that is one of the key things. And in terms of how successful it was, well, the speakers brought in 836 new prospects into my mailing list.
Wow.
And I didn't pay for any of that. The speakers did a promotion. The speakers brought them in. So and that to me is huge. It took me around 3 weeks to put on that summit. From now as we were starting to go out and bring speakers on board, onboarding them, setting it all up, them going out and promoting and getting participants into the summit. And then we went live on a Monday morning and for 5 days. And when it was over, I had 836 new names on the list.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Now, I'm breaking it down. It's funny because I consider doing it live, and I'm still thinking about doing it live in the future. I know I'm going to do webinars live and whatnot, but the reason I didn't start live is simply because I started off in radio and TV years ago, and as soon as the red light came on, I used to freeze mentally. And so I wanted to get into a habit of doing this regularly, but also because as a solopreneur, I'd like to try to read as much, see as much as I can, and I just thought it'll be easy for me to get into this and get some practice and then get to the point where I can, make events so everybody can get involved and everything. But I wanted to have experience, and my own personal things were getting in the way. So I can't imagine starting off with a giant webinar or a giant summit like you did. That's just got to be an incredible feeling to do that successfully, and good for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, you're talking there about freezing when the red light came on. And actually, one of my primary motivators for doing a summit was the fact that I used to freeze when the red light came on. I would literally go okay, I said my first sentence. Okay, what was my next sentence? So yeah, for me, it was like a real psychological barrier I needed to get across. Right. Total introvert, I hate standing up and I hate talking to a group of people. But there I was in a position where the pain of not talking was much higher than the pain of talking. For me to go out and saying, well, I was going to put this on and I bottled out because I feared it too much and I'm not doing it anymore, cancel it all. That pain was massively, drastically more than the pain of actually just going there and being still like a rabbit caught in headlights, really.
Yeah.
But like saying, okay, thank you very much. And now we've got the next speaker, that was my first summit pretty much. Right. But, second summit, I was much more able to handle that transition in a better way. And third summit is going to be a lot better still.
Yeah. And especially when you're going to be a speaker on it and you're also the one behind the scenes and you're handling the technology and everything else. There's just so many things to think about and so many moving parts, which drives me to the discussion of the technology. For me personally, I had looked at a technology that was designed for summits. Then I got in a conversation with a gentleman, and that gentleman mentioned the technology again. So I thought I'm going to give that another look because I had never had a chance to look at it fully like I had intended. That particular piece of technology had a training package with it, and I went through that training. And one of the things they promoted in that training was also the ability to do it as a recorded session. So that combination got me rolling. But technology, tell me a little bit about how you help people with technology. Do you have solutions that you recommend and things of that nature for summits?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am really pivoting a little bit at what I'm doing right now because my passion is to help people who are in the midlife, who are solopreneurs, who want to have a successful coaching business. And a big part of that is the client attraction. I sort of have discovered there's a difference between realizing in a theoretical way and then seeing the leads starting to come into your list, the people starting to buy the products that you have and services that you have because you're doing a summit. And it's like that realization was amazing. But here's the thing. I am a technology person and a marketing person. So what I did when I did my first summit was to automate a lot of the things that I did. So when I did my second summit, even though it was live, even though I had 37 speakers, now apart from the time that it took to actually run the summit, apart from that time, I spent something like 10 hours on the administration of all of that. 10 hours when you have 37 speakers, that's next to nothing. People who are putting on summits with far less speakers are spending 50 to 100 to 150 hours and more trying to do all of the administration. Yeah. And I realized that I have a system that I'm using for myself that actually would be beneficial for anybody who's running a summit. And here's the interesting thing. The company I used to work with, when I started up on the 6th of July, I was working with a life coach certification company. And this company was pivoted as well from being in-person events. They used to do in-person events with around 900 to 1,100 people 3 times a year. In June, they did 1,800 people into a virtual event. And in October, 2,200 into a virtual event. So I have a lot of experience in the background with how do you actually manage a lot of people who are registering for an event, making sure they got access, giving them a dashboard where they can do different things. Yeah. And so that's what I automated. All of the speaker communication, all of the tracking of did the speakers actually promote, who was on the leaderboard, all of this I actually automated. So what I'm doing now is I am packaging all of that up and making a system where anybody can run their own summit, whether it's live, pre-recorded, hybrid model, or giveaway, or however you want to do it. you can actually run your summit through my software. And it just eliminates 90% of the admin work.
Keep me in the loop on that, because I know that one of the benefits of running a live summit is the fact that you don't have nearly as much administrative time. I have a lot of administrative time because I'm doing a pre-recorded, and I don't have a lot of virtual assistants or anything else. I happen to have a platform that I was able to do everything from with a little thought. But this was to get me started, to get me rolling. And so I actually am definitely going to have a conversation with you at some time about what you were putting together. And I'd love to be a beta tester or anything else you want. So, but 10 hours, I don't think people really understand that. 10 hours is one of my days putting on mine. And I spend at least a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks really rolling out mine. Well, actually 2 weeks of really heavily rolling out my process. Again, I don't have copywriters. I don't have social media. Well, I do have a little bit of social media help sometimes, but I don't have anybody else really doing anything. I'm doing the interviewing, I'm doing the planning, I'm doing all of it. So to hear 10 hours for 36 people or 36 speakers, that's just incredible, Steve.
Yeah, it really makes a difference when you have a software system that works with you. And one of the challenges was that there are solutions out there that you could be using. And I tried to use some of those solutions, but they really didn't do what I needed it to do. One of the things I wanted to do was to say to speakers, okay, so when you go out and you get somebody into my list as a reward, when I make a sale, I got the sequence, I'm going to monetize this, I'm going to sell a course afterwards, I want to give you a commission. Yeah. And I couldn't get that information out of the system of which attendee was brought in by what speaker. So I could actually pay them a commission. It was impossible.
That's been a lot of work. I'm fortunate that my software is able to do some of that, but the solution that I started all of this with, I was surprised when I got to the point to realize I needed to have an affiliate software. I needed to have this. I needed to have that on top of what I was working with. And so when I realized I could do this all within mine, I said, I'm going to give it a try, just see how it works out, because I knew it was going to be my first one. It was going to be smaller scale. But the point is that you're right. The softwares don't have all the capabilities they need out there. And so once you've been doing it and you package it together, you're just going to have something that's really useful. And if we do our job making people aware of the value of Summit software or Summits as a lead generator, then your software is going to just take off and fly, Steve.
Well, thank you. And I believe it is. One of the things that I teach people when I do marketing is that when you have an offer and you got your elevator pitch for it, you got your 10 to 30 seconds, like this is what they do, this is what the service is. And you go and tell them and they go, wow, that sounds really fantastic. I bet you're going to get a lot of clients from that. You go back and rethink it, because what you want to do is for them to say, wow, I want that. How can I sign up? Yeah. And here's the amazing thing about my solution for running summits. Every time anybody who is running, when I tell them what I'm doing, they're going like, how can I do it? How can I get access now?
How do I sign up? I was trying to not go into that too far, but that's exactly what I'm feeling right now. So I totally, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, one of the things you don't realize when you're starting to do a summit, as you found out, there's so many moving parts. You've got to build your website, you've got the agenda page, then you get all of the bio and everything from the speakers. And then the speakers, after you've created a page, you go, oh, can you change something or different URL or something? You have to go and make the edits. You have to set up all of that affiliate tracking. You have to be quite technical to actually make it all work as well. Yes. That is one of the challenges. And what I'm doing is basically presenting more or less like a Summit admin system in a box. So everything is included and it's automated. So all you need to do is to get speakers on board. They fill out their own information. It creates the agenda page for you. It creates the opt-in page for you, and when people are going, okay, the summit is live, whether that's pre-recorded or live, whatever, it will automatically send out the emails that says, hey, the summit is live. Come and listen in and access these speakers.
Right.
Yeah, that's very powerful, I think.
I'm part of a network of promoters and summit builders, or the guys who actually put on the summits. I would definitely like to talk with you off the air about that. We have a group, and what we do is we go in there and we beta test and we help with different softwares. We analyze and kind of make suggestions and things of that nature. So I think if you want more ears and eyes to be able to help you get it right the first time out, that's something that I can offer you as well.
I'd love to be part of that.
Absolutely. Steve, now I don't want to lose sight of the fact that you are also doing giveaways and you work with giveaway technology. Why don't you spend a little bit of time telling us about the benefits, the technologies behind doing a giveaway?
Yeah, so giveaway works a little bit differently from a summit. With a giveaway, you have much less opportunity to increase your authority and influence and know, like, and trust, because the way a giveaway works is that you get a group of contributors who each are contributing a gift of some kind, ideally a gift of value, maybe access to a course or something. And you're creating a page where people can go to and then see a list of all of the contributors, click on a button to go to a contributor and opt in if you're interested based on the description. The contributors promote, and you take everybody to a landing page where they have to opt in before they get to see the list. So you're building your list. But on that contribution page, you're not really featured more than being just another person who has a gift on that page. Here's the great thing about a giveaway. Contributors will pay to be able to appear on your list. Right? If you get 20 to 30 contributors, you charge them anything from $100 to $300 to be a contributor, and everybody then goes out and promotes. You can actually make something like $3,000. You know, you could make more than $3,000 doing that. And so you get paid to build your list. Because all you do is the same thing as a summit. You build a page with all of these contributors. You have links to their websites where people will opt in on their website. But you get paid before it even starts, because the contributor can't be on the list before they pay you. And then all you need to do is make sure that they are promoting and people are coming to the page and people are opting in to these gifts. And you're building your list. So it's a fantastic way. Now, a summit, you wouldn't normally charge a speaker.
Right.
Right. That's the difference.
Now, let me ask you this then. Technologies, are there any special technologies, any software that you would recommend for using a giveaway, or can you do a giveaway comfortably with any kind of website builder?
Well, here's the thing. The software I'm developing will also do a giveaway for you. It will build out all of the pages and manage the giveaway for somebody back in December. I spent around 2 or 3 hours on the administration of the giveaway itself. They had over 60 contributors.
Wow.
And I was responsible for getting all of the contributors' information onto the page and publishing the page and all of the updates. The guy who gave me the tasks says that I saved him over 200 hours.
Wow. I believe it. I totally can see that. I totally can see that.
So yeah, I would say if you want to run a giveaway, get in touch, because the software will simplify your life so much.
Well, I know we're going to be coming up close to this. I try to keep these in 30 minutes. So is there any big failures that you would like to share that you've had in working in either with giveaways or with your summits?
Oh, I probably haven't done enough of them yet to have any kind of big failures. I didn't plan the monetization well enough. Right. So what happened was that I put people into a course. I got 4 people into my course. The course was $497, so I made $2,000. Correct. And then I had upsells from that as well, from the course itself. But I could have done a better job of my presentation. I could have done a better job of actually taking enough space between each speaker to make sure that they understood who I was, that I was the host, what I stood for, to increase that know, like, and trust and authority during the summit. Right. Instead, it was only when I was actually doing my own talk, I got just under 10% conversion, which isn't bad at all. Right. But I could have had more people coming onto my course, which then would have translated into more money. So I think making sure that you understand your monetization strategy, you understand why you're doing a summit, the timing of the summit and how it fits into your marketing activity, because you want to catch them when they are warm leads, people who are there in front of you and seeing you. So yeah, that's definitely one.
Well, I think you've already touched on one of your biggest wins. That's at 836 leads out of 36 speakers. That's pretty incredible. You were talking about timing. Do you have a sequence that you would recommend for timing of putting both a summit on and a giveaway on?
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter which one comes first, or even if they're running at the same time. But typically what you want to do is leave a gap of around 2 weeks from the time of the event to you having something like a big 3-day event, ideally. Now, this is the ideal. It takes you a little bit of time. Bearing in mind that I come from a point of it's like an overnight success that took 20 years to happen.
Right.
I did a summit. I do 2 summits, and I've done a 3-day event. And normally it will take people a long time before they're ready to do a 3-day event. But I've been in the world for quite a while where 3-day events are happening. And I had a lot of thought about how to do my 3-day event.
Right.
The ideal sequence is you do your summit, you do at least one presentation during the summit. The people who didn't see your presentation at the summit, you put them into webinars, you invite them into a webinar, and you do that for about a period of 2 weeks. Then you're having a 3-day event. And by the way, you need to sell VIP recordings. If you're doing it live, you sell VIP recordings of the summit. Right. And everybody who buys the VIP recordings get a ticket to your event. And then when you have a 3-day event, you need to have something to promote to them, which is certainly in the several $1,000s.
Yes.
Because you're spending 3 days on actually building up that know, like, and trust, and demonstrating that you really know what you're doing. Right. And then when you're making that offer, whether that's 2,000, 5,000, or 10,000, that's when you're going to start getting sales.
Right. I've been taking notes along the side here because I look at things, and I'm glad I'm taking notes because there's 1 or 2 things that's like, oh, that's slightly different than what I thought about, or slightly different than the way I was planning to do it. So I'm glad to have had this conversation with you. Today, we've been talking about the hidden secrets and the value of summits and giveaways in lead generation with our speaker, Steve Eriksen. Today, Steve, I've got a last question for you. What's a question what's a topic or something that I didn't ask you about today that you think I probably should have? I get this question from Tom Poland, the guy that I like to follow, and I think it's a great one. What's something I didn't ask you about today that you think maybe I should have mentioned or should have thought about asking you?
I think what we didn't talk about is that if you're completely newbie, you're starting from nothing, you have no list, you have no contacts, can you still run a summit?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And my answer to that is definitely yes. I had been in business for 6 weeks when I ran my first summit. I quit my old job. I started my business 6th of July, 31st of August. I was running a summit, and the summit took me 2 weeks to put together. I had like 100 people on my list by then because I'd been participating in a giveaway. Everything I did, putting together the speakers, I had help in putting together speakers. You can't always do everything on your own. So I went to somebody who had a list of speakers and said, hey, can you help me find speakers? And they said, yeah, sure. And a number of speakers came from there. But the point is, I had no credibility. I had no track record. I had no big list on my own. And I was able to, in the space of 2 weeks, to put together a summit. What you have to do is to have to be very, very clear on what is your positioning, what is the topic, what's the theme, what's the benefit for the participants. And by the way, if anybody is interested in learning more about how to create a successful summit, then go to summitraptor.com. We are putting together a training. The first one is going to be 1st and 2nd of May. And then we're going to have them regularly afterwards, where it's a 2-day workshop style, where we are going through everything you need to know on how to create your own summit. And you also get access to the software that will actually help you execute it as well.
That's funny, because the next thing I was going to ask you about is what do you have coming up next, and what did you want to tell us about for the audience? So what was it again?
All right. So summitraptor.com, it's a 2-day virtual weekend workshop where we're going through everything you need to do to create a successful summit. We're talking about the positioning. How do you communicate with the speakers? How do you get the audience interested? How do you monetize it? We'll give you Skype copy. So that's pre-written email copy that you can send out to attendees and send out to speakers. You're going to adapt this to your own business and your own ideas over a 2-day period. So you coming out of the gate ready to run your own summit. That's the goal of the weekend. And we're going to run those on a regular basis.
Well, Steve, you led me to the last couple of questions I was going to ask you. So you just answered them all in that last bit of information there. So I really appreciate that. And I will close this out. So today, this has been a fascinating conversation with lead generation promoter and technology specialist Steve Eriksen, who's been discussing summits and giveaways. And I thank you for being here today, Steve.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching this Encore presentation. I'm your host, Joe Sayles Jr., and this has been an Encore interview about summits and gift giveaways with guest speaker Steve Eriksen on the Flip Your Marketing Flops podcast. Flip Your Marketing Flops is the digital marketing and lead generation podcast where you can listen in on the latest digital marketing and lead generation trends and tips through conversations with marketing professionals. We're helping service businesses and entrepreneurs produce better marketing results. Tune into our latest episode on your favorite listening platform. Get involved with the show. There are many ways to do so. You can email me here at the show. Just use joe@flipyourmarketingflops.com. If you enjoy the content on this channel, let me know. If you have a digital marketing topic you would like to know more about, tell me about it. And if there is someone you think I should have on the show, just give me their name. You are crucial to the success of this show, just as I want to be helpful in the success of your business, and I want to give you information you want to know about. So be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and comment below. For more information, visit flipyourmarketingflops.com. Remember, every marketing flop is just a lesson waiting to be flipped.